So back in June of 2013, I did a Versus episode comparing the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Perhaps that was a bit preemptive, as neither of which were actually released yet. We were basically going off of premature rumors and widely circulating the internet as far as what the specs are and such, but now that both consoles are finally released, I can finally say I am Midnight Strike 3625 and you are watching the reprise version of the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One Versus episode. So, to get started, this is probably going to be the only episode that I actually redo or reprise or anything like that, but I'm not going to say for certain because there might be a few down the line that I would like to redo in the future. I was thinking about doing this for a really long time, but hey, didn't have the time to do it. So basically, I have the PlayStation 4. I got the PlayStation 4 when it was released with Killzone Shadowfall and Injustice. I almost did Infamous, but I have, I believe, 6 or 7 games for it now. I mean, yeah, I buy a lot of games. So, you know, Infamous Second Son, Watch Dogs, Killzone Shadowfall, of course, like I said. Really good titles. Need for Speed Rivals is another one. That was released for the Xbox One as well. What I really like about the PlayStation 4 is, I'm going to be right back here, which I actually reviewed, its controller. It has an awesome little touchpad right here where you can... It has a sensor in here where you can kind of move your finger around, and its 6-axis controls allow you to move the controller with a cursor on the actual TV screen with some of the games, and a lot of the games actually utilize this. With the Xbox One, however, it's a little bit different because you have the Kinect, which is a camera, which, you know, it's the Kinect 2.0 as the Kinect was released on the Xbox 360 originally, but now they're finally selling Kinectless Xbox Ones. Now this was kind of a little bit different in stark contrast to when I first did this, when I thought, you know, games are always going to be online only, and the Kinect is going to be this draconian device that basically monitors your every move. Am I going to have to put a little piece of duct tape over it, even though, you know, the sensor is still going to pick up what I'm saying, so I can't really turn that off? Microsoft kind of fucked up back in the day, and that was a really bad time to do the Versus episode. And now that all of that has pretty much absolved, we can finally look at this through an objective lens instead of the subjective one that we were looking at it before. So with the Xbox One, I actually got one chance to actually try out the console in a demo at GameStop, and it was Walmart, and it was really interesting because I love just the smooth menu interface. That's one thing that the Xbox always had over the PlayStation, was its user-friendly interface. I don't know, something about the boxes just screams really easy to use. While I don't really like the layout of the Xbox One and 360, you know, layout per se, it looks too much like Windows 8, I do like how streamlined it is, I do like how user-friendly it is, and it's really easy to pick up on and find what you need. The PlayStation 4, however, with the menu, you kinda gotta go searching through shit in order to actually get to the settings that you want. I mean, hell, half the shit I had to look up online how to do. I mean, even with the PlayStation 3, which I've had for a good 4 years, sometimes in order to get to the simplest things, I have to look it up online how to do it. So definitely a streamlined experience with the Xbox One, and you can do a bunch of things on it. You know, you can Skype, you can watch TV while playing games, as Jesse Pinkman said, or what was his name? Aaron Paul Rod? I don't fucking know what his name is, but the actor for Jesse Pinkman on that one commercial that keeps on turning on your Xbox Ones. That's one other thing, though. With the Kinect sensor that you can't turn off, it will, when you say Xbox record that, Xbox off, Xbox on, Xbox play Titanfall, it will do all of those things. So when that commercial advertising for the Kinect comes on, which I saw at work, I can't believe they're still playing that, when that comes on, it's going to do all those things on your Xbox. Also, kind of begging the question, if someone wanted to be mean, if you hadn't saved your game in a while, couldn't they just say Xbox off? And if they wanted to be a dick, and it would shut off, you know, and you would have to effectively start over from where you last saved, which might have been like 3 hours ago. I mean, if someone really wanted to be that vindictive and that cruel, could they possibly do that? I mean, I think it's a little bit early for some of these technologies that they have instilled in the Xbox One, but I think they are revolutionary for its time, if not a bit ahead of its time. You know, so the Xbox One, to me, is kind of like the Dreamcast, where it was so far ahead of its time that it's viewed as a bad thing, kind of like online gaming with the Sega Dreamcast. It was kind of viewed as being way ahead of its time, and no one really had it, no one really wanted to get into it, kind of like with the always online thing that Microsoft were initially trying to push. Now, with Phil Spencer at the head instead of Don Matrick, things are going a little bit better. Things are a little bit better with the emphasis on the gaming side of the spectrum, but it's still not absolutely perfect, as they're trying to basically trick you into thinking that the Xbox One is going to be $399 with the Kinect, even though in small letters it says Kinect sold separately when they're advertising for the Kinect with the actor for Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad. So I don't really get why they did that. I mean, there's a whole video by Review Tech USA. He does it. But when it comes down to it, in stark comparison with the PlayStation 4, you have to buy the camera separately. You've always had to buy the camera separately. It's kind of like the iToy with the PlayStation 2. They didn't necessarily have a full-on emphasis for it. It's just kind of there. I mean, it's nice to have. And I think that's what they should have done with the Kinect, is just kind of make it like an accessory. It's just kind of there, you know? Don't try to fully utilize it and integrate it into your system when people don't necessarily want it, you know? I mean, it's kind of like Google Plus with YouTube. People didn't want that. So obviously there's going to be a lot of rebellion. And if you're in a business like in Microsoft, you're not going to want that. I mean, it's a little different for, say, YouTube, because they're not necessarily a business per se, but when it comes down to it, you want to please your consumers, you know? It's stuff like that that really kind of gets under people's skins. So basically, now that both consoles are out, they both have great games, they both have phenomenal games, my favorite of which on the PlayStation 4 being Need for Speed Rivals and infamous Second Son. Probably Second Son a little bit better. So Second Son is awesome. I actually reviewed it on my channel. Watch Dogs is a multi-platform game, and I'm going to be reviewing that probably a little bit after this, if, you know, by the time this is posted I haven't already reviewed it. So probably afterwards. But basically, Watch Dogs is awesome, but the plot really drags the game down. So that one is a multi-platform. I really like it, and I don't know, it's just the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One really have great games for it. They have phenomenal games, but I think when it comes down to it, the problem with both of these systems is the fact that a lot of the game developers are trying too hard to develop for both generations. Say, you know, the PlayStation 3 here and the Xbox 360. I don't have my 360 controller in here, otherwise I'd pick that up too, to be even. But they're trying to develop for both generations, and I think that's what makes next gen suffer, the 8th generation of gaming suffer, is because they're practically constantly being bogged down by 7th gen material. So for me, obviously, I mean, I'm still going to go with the PlayStation 4, but I'm actually thinking about picking up an Xbox One maybe for the Halo Master Chief Collection. I mean, it does look pretty good, and I don't know if I'm going to or not, but things are a little bit more level on the playing field when it comes to the console wars, in my opinion. So as always, I'm going to ask you guys, which one do you like better, the PS4 or the Xbox One? So as to generate a little bit of discussion, post your answer in the comment section down below, right there. And as always, this is Midnight Strike 3625. I hope you enjoyed watching. Keep calm and rock on.